Hi guys. Feelings can be some complicated things. The more I listened to my feelings, the more I realized they weren't always trustworthy. Can't trust my feelings, how will I know? Recently, my 7-year-old had a minor emotional meltdown, and it was a challenge for both of us. She said she wanted to audition for her school talent show, but because she couldn't decide on what to do, I thought she had let the whole idea go. Until the day of auditions, when she begged me to take her. I did, and as soon as we got there, she changed her mind about auditioning. I figured her nerves would settle soon, so I sat her down and went to sign her in. Only a few minutes later, however, she hopped out of her seat to go tell the teacher that she didn't want to do it. With that, I let it go. I couldn't understand why my outgoing and spirited child, who had been in school plays since she had come to that school, was suddenly timid. But I also didn't want to force her. Our feelings were all over the place, so out of curiosity, I decided to look up the word. Google defines feeling as an emotional state or reaction. But what I really found interesting was the difference between feelings and emotions. Feelings manifest consciously. You're probably able to articulate how you feel, but with emotions, they manifest consciously and subconsciously. So, you may not have a clue why you're experiencing the emotions you're experiencing. They may be so deep that they're literally out of your conscious reach. No wonder emotions can be so hard to control sometimes. So we were heading home. Only a few minutes later, Olivia started saying to me, I want to go back. I want to audition. By now, we only got 10 more minutes or so before the auditions are done completely. We arrive home. She's so sad. Faulty, fickle, flaky feelings had gotten the best of her. I know how it feels to be teary and sad because you didn't believe in yourself or you didn't have confidence. In fact, I have a long list of misleadings due to my own feelings, my own fickle, faulty feelings. I made a few CDs that I talked myself out of doing anything with for fear of rejection. Had a few business ideas over the years, but I convinced myself the markets were always too crowded for them. And, of course, relationships that I felt sure about, but didn't last. Feelings can be tricky. So, in trying to find the right teaching points for Olivia and her sad situation, I remembered that her last audition was her first rejection. I wondered if that rejection might have played a part in my little girl's feelings flake up, just like a seed planted that eventually starts sprouting. Affecting this experience now. Leading to all this new intimidation. But if a seed was planted, a seed can also be uprooted, right? Of course it can. And nothing worked. Here I am at a library reading Jared's Last Carrot, my first published book during their story time. My book is about a cute bunny who learns to share. It took me a long time to decide to publish this book. As someone who only thought of herself as a singer and not an author, I found many reasons or excuses not to publish, until I had one important conversation with a neighbor that changed everything. I shared with her that I studied writing and may eventually write children's books in the future. She was very encouraging, but that didn't stop me from using my standard excuse in saying that I would have to wait and see because there are already so many children's authors. She simply looked at me and asked, "Are there ever too many flowers in a garden?" This arrested me and immediately began to uproot some of the old emotions that were planted and causing doubt. So this leads me here to 3 points that are necessary for uprooting. Number 1, Knowing the truth really does make you free. In Mark chapter 11, verse 28 through 33, Jesus has a situation. They're saying, who gave you authority to do the things you're doing? Finally says, I'm not going to answer your question. When I first read this, I was thinking, well, why didn't he just answer? Then it occurred to me, they're coming in to make you question who you are. But if you know, that's not even necessary. Let them do their due diligence and go out and find out on their own. Think about a doctor. If a doctor comes into the exam room and you look at him and you say, who gave you authority to come and examine me? Well, the doctor will probably do the same thing and say, okay, I'll be back. And then you may wait there forever because he may never come back. If he has to go and explain and prove to everybody who he is, how much work will he be getting done? I was reading Revelation 17 and 14 recently, and I love this example of authority and true identity. Jesus' enemies are coming to attack him. And all these enemies who have terrified other people, all these things have happened before this time. But now, here comes Jesus. And the scripture says that he overcame them. He overcame his enemies. And it doesn't say that he did it by trampling on them with his white horse or that he pulled out a sword and slit their throats. He overcame them because he is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Can you imagine how many battles we would eliminate from our lives if we did like Jesus and just knew who we were? Number 2, don't come into agreement with the lies. The lie you believe is the lie you will live. When I was younger, I was married and we were trying to have children. I was having a lot of issues. I was told from a doctor that I had PCOS and that I wasn't going to be able to conceive easily. And that was at 13, my first pap smear and exam, things that girls and women have to do. And they told me all these things and got me all afraid. And I didn't realize until much later that I rehearsed that, like I told myself that and other people. I bought into it completely. Eventually, to conceive, we got help. But I wonder what would have happened if I didn't come into agreement with that. And number 3, the last one, act like you know. Faith without works is dead. So now is the time to add action to your knowledge. For Olivia, it will clearly be to welcome more and more auditions, to ace them, to be prepared so she can ace them. And for me, it will be to stick to my assignments. Don't talk myself out of them, even when I don't feel like it. What's it going to be for you? God bless.